This file says it was created in 2015. It wasn't. It was created last Tuesday, and the person who put it on that computer changed the date to make investigators look the other way. This is called time-stomping, and it's one of the oldest, most effective tricks in the hacker's playbook, because it exploits one thing almost everyone does automatically. We trust what the clock tells us. Today, we're going to break that trust completely. Every single file on your computer is wearing a name tag. Not just its file name, something deeper. Hidden metadata that the operating system quietly tracks, recording when the file was born, when it was last opened, when its contents changed. Investigators use these timestamps like a timeline, a breadcrumb trail. If a piece of malware appears on a system, the timestamp tells them when it arrived. That single piece of information can blow open an entire case, unless someone changed it. And here's what nobody tells you about file timestamps. Any user, no admin rights required, can change them. On Windows, on Linux, on Mac, in 3 lines of code, in under 5 seconds. So the question isn't just, how do hackers do it? The real question is, how does anyone get caught?
To understand why this trick works, and why it sometimes backfires spectacularly, you need to understand what a timestamp actually is. On Windows, most computers use a file system called NTFS. Think of NTFS as the operating system's librarian. Every file that exists on the drive gets a card in the catalog called the Master File Table, or MFT. And here's where it gets interesting. Every file doesn't just have one set of timestamps, it has 2. The first set is called Standard Information, or SI for short. This is what you see when you right-click a file and check its properties: created, modified, accessed. These are the timestamps that show up in Windows Explorer and in most basic forensic tools. Here's the critical detail. Any program running on your computer can change SI timestamps. No administrator access needed. The second set is called File Name, or FN. This one lives deeper in the MFT record, and it's only supposed to be updated by the Windows kernel itself, the core of the operating system, during real file operations. Most attackers don't touch FN. Their tools don't reach that deep. So when a skilled forensic examiner suspects something, the first thing they do is compare those 2 sets. If SI says a file was created in 2015, but FN says it was created last Tuesday, that's a contradiction the attacker can't explain away. That mismatch, forensic tools like Autopsy and Magnet Axiom flag it automatically now. The timestamp lie just became evidence of the lie. So how do attackers actually do it? Let's walk through the toolkit, because understanding the weapons is how you understand the defense. Tool number 1, timestomp. This is the grandfather of timestamp manipulation tools. It's bundled inside Metasploit, one of the most widely used penetration testing frameworks in the world. It cleanly modifies the $SI timestamps and can wipe the nanosecond precision from a file. But it has a blind spot. By default, it doesn't touch $FN, which means any examiner who knows to look deeper will immediately see the discrepancy. Tool number 2, set mace. This one is more dangerous from a forensics perspective. Set mace can change both $SI and $FN timestamps, what the community calls double time-stomping. For an attacker who expects their target to bring in trained forensic investigators, this is the difference between being caught and staying hidden. Is it foolproof? No, because even double time-stomping leaves traces in other parts of the file system. The log file, the USN journal, prefetch files. The MFT record number itself tells a story, but it removes the most obvious layer of detection. Tool number 3, end time tools. Here's one most people have never heard of, and it closes a subtle but forensically important gap. Windows NTFS stores timestamps with 100 nanosecond precision. Real files on a system almost never have perfectly rounded timestamps. If a file says it was created at exactly 12:00.0000000, that 0 nanosecond value is extremely suspicious. Investigators scanning thousands of files can spot those instantly. End time tools lets attackers randomize those nanosecond values, making manipulated files blend in with the rest of the file system. Tool number 4, PowerShell. And then there's the quiet option, the one that doesn't require downloading any tool at all. Get item payload.exe.lastWriteTime equals 01/01/2020 80000. One line, built into every modern Windows machine. No downloads, no external binaries to trigger. Its limitation is the same as timestomp. It operates at the surface level and can't reach $FN. But for a quick operation where no one expects a deep forensic investigation, it's often more than enough. And if you're reading threat intelligence reports about nation-state actors or APT groups, when they say a group modified file timestamps, they almost certainly mean this was automated inside their command and control framework. Cobalt Strike, Empire, and most mature hacking toolkits have timestamp manipulation built right in as a post-exploitation module.
Windows gets most of the attention in this conversation, but Linux has its own version of this game, and it's even simpler on the surface. On Linux, the main timestamps are access time, modification time, change time, and on newer kernels, birth time. The touch command handles the first two trivially. You can set any date you want, or, and this is the clever part, you can copy the timestamps from a legitimate system file. Instead of picking a random date that might look suspicious, an attacker drops their backdoor on a Linux server and gives it the exact timestamp profile of something like user/bin/curl, a file that's supposed to be there, that looks native, that no one questions. The catch on Linux is the change time, C-time. You can't directly set it from user space. Every time you run touch, C-time updates to right now. Getting around that requires either manipulating the system clock before the operation, which is clumsy and detectable through NTP log analysis, or using raw file system tools like debugfs with root access. Most automated tools don't bother with C-time, which means on Linux, the change time is often the one timestamp that gives everything away.
Here's the part that most people never think about, and it's the reason clumsy time stomping can actually make an investigator's job easier. When the NTFS master file table allocates a record for a new file, it assigns a sequence number. These numbers go in order. File created Monday gets number 1000. File created Tuesday gets 1001. File created Wednesday gets 1002. You can change the date on those files. You cannot change the sequence number. So, if a file claims it was created in 2015, but its MFT sequence number sits between files from last Wednesday, that's a hard contradiction, a digital impossibility, and it's completely invisible to the attacker who only changed the timestamp. That file isn't hiding, it's wearing a neon sign that says, "I was tampered with." And it goes further than that. Every major Windows artifact has its own memory of when things happened. Prefetch files record application execution history. Event logs record system activity. Shim cache and M cache record what programs ran and when. The USN journal logs every single file system change. If you timestomp a file but leave all of these untouched, and attackers almost always leave most of them untouched, you haven't hidden the file. You've created a file that disagrees with every other witness in the room. Forensic investigators don't just look at timestamps, they look for consistency across all evidence. A file with a suspiciously clean timestamp surrounded by logs, prefetch entries, and journal records that all say something different, that file goes straight to the top of the suspect list. Recent research published in IEEE Access has pushed this even further, using machine learning models trained on the NTFS journal to detect timestamp manipulation, even identifying which specific tool was used to do it, and in some cases, which threat group performed the attack. The arms race between hiding and detecting never stops. This isn't theoretical. Timestomping shows up regularly in real-world attacks. APT groups, nation-state-level hackers, routinely timestamp their implants to match the creation dates of legitimate system files on the target network. The goal is simple. When an incident responder runs a timeline analysis and sees thousands of files, they want their malicious file to look like it's been there for years, like it belongs. In several documented intrusions, attackers specifically matched their backdoor timestamps to Windows system files like lsas.exe or svch.exe, files that every Windows machine has that haven't changed since the system was installed. The problem for those attackers, the machine learning models trained on NTFS journals now flag these too. A file that claims to be old, but whose journal entry history is suspiciously clean, no access records, no modification history, stands out differently than a file that was genuinely installed years ago and shows years of ordinary activity. Old files have a history. Fake old files are suspiciously silent.
Here's the real lesson underneath all of this. Timestamp manipulation works because of a bias we all carry. When we see created January 1st, 2015, something in our brain relaxes. Old file, not relevant, move on. Attackers know this.
They've known it for decades, and they build their operations around the assumption that most people will trust the metadata and stop looking. The best forensic investigators don't trust any single artifact. They look for the same story being told across all the evidence: the timestamp, the sequence number, the journal, the prefetch, the event logs. When all of those tell the same story, the file is probably what it claims to be. When one of them disagrees, that disagreement is the evidence. Anyone can change a timestamp. Very few people can change everything that remembers it. And increasingly, the machines are learning to remember everything.
If you found this useful, subscribe. We break down exactly how attackers think, so you can understand what defenders are up against. Next video, we're going deep on how corporate VPN companies might not be what they seem. See you there.